Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live with me, Chase Lee, and my co-host,
Brian Sutfield.
That's fucking right. And hey, listen, guys, if you're new to the show, welcome. And if you are a continuing listener, welcome back. We'll be doing the shows. We'll take a look at some movies coming out on the weekend, and we'll take a look at a specific actor, director, genre, what have you. We'll make a top 5 list according to that, honoring said movie for the weekend. And the cool thing about the show is that we do it live, so we have no idea what the hell's going to come out of our mouths, and we didn't know each other's lists, so it's a surprise every single week, and it's always a joy to prove Brian wrong and get his list right every single time. Like I guess correctly, and he always ends up just crying in shame, and that is a 100% true fact. So first, before we begin, if you're watching on YouTube and you want an audio-only version of the podcast, the link will be in the description below. And hey, listen, if you're watching or listening on Spreaker and you want a video version, you want to see this amazingly blue dad, almost golf shirt I got going on, then the link will be in the description below. But so welcome to Top 5 Saturdays Live. Let's get this going. But first, before we get into our subject, Brian, how are we doing today? Like this day specifically, just today, not the rest, not the week prior, just today. How are we doing today?
I worked today. It was a slow day at work, but I'm home and I'm happy as hell. So yeah, I'm doing well. How are you?
Listen, it's the weekend. I'm excited and stuff, but the girl I'm dating, she's gone for like a week, so I'm just kind of like crawling up in my my bed every single night because I don't know what to do with my life. And I'm just playing with my roommate's dog, and she's currently licking my covers right now. So I'm doing pretty great, but that's not the best part about the day though. It's this fucking episode. So, Brian, with that being said, like, who, what, or why, or how, what are we honoring this week?
This week, Now You See Me 2 comes out, and we are honoring God himself, Morgan Freeman. Yes.
Morgan fucking Freeman. Like, this guy, this fucking guy, like, every time when he pops up into a movie, it's Morgan Freeman, but that, like, well, nowadays it's kind of 50-50 on how he's going to go. Is he going to give 110%? He's going to give about the same percentage as like a bag of dicks or something. Like it's just sometimes he just doesn't care. He does it for the paycheck, and he's been openly admitted to do that. But do you blame him though? Like acting is his job. If he wants to take paychecks, whatever. Like if someone wants to pay him to do a movie, and he wants to get money for his kids or grandkids, whatever, man. That's his fucking life. But Morgan Freeman's been around for a while now, and I'm gonna say that he didn't really get his resurgence into like, I guess, pop culture or like kind of like in the forefront until he did what Brian was referencing to, until he did Bruce Almighty. I think once that movie came out in 2003, I think his career like took like this weird like surge. Like he's been around the industry for a very long time if you look at his filmography, but like he's in a lot of stuff nowadays versus like when he first started out and stuff, and like when he was beginning his career. Like he's in a lot more prolific things now than he ever has been, and it's actually quite amazing to see his career just keep taking off at the age that he is. So yeah, Morgan Freeman to me is just one of those actors I love, enjoy seeing. And when we do our list today, like people have to realize that Brian and I were born in the 90s. I haven't seen, I'm going to be honest with you, anything probably prior to 1994 of Morgan Freeman. So I apologize. But yeah, I'm a true 90s kid. Fucking sue me. So I'm going to have more modern picks. But then again, just like I said, I think that surge of his career, I think there's a lot more memorable roles. And I think you'll see that when I display my list. So, Brian, when you think of the Freeman, the M Freeman, the MF, the motherfucker himself, what do you think of? What do you think of when you think of Morgan Freeman? Are you excited to see anything he does nowadays? Because it is kind of a gamble. Like sometimes he might mail it in, sometimes he might not. So, what are your thoughts on the Freeman?
like you said, it's always 50-50. It depends on what exactly he's doing, because when you look at the films he's doing this year, like we had London Has Fallen. I didn't see it, so I can't comment on that. Now You See Me Too, I'll probably see in a few weeks. I just won't see that immediately. I'm not really excited for those films. I am curious to what he's going to do in the Ben-Hur remake, although I don't understand the dreadlocks he's going for, although... I'm sure he's going to phone it in, and I'm going to laugh at it, and I'm going to have fun with whatever it is he's going to do in that movie because, he's the Freeman. Like you said, he's the motherfucker. Morgan Freeman, regardless of what he does now, he will always be regarded as a fantastic talent in Hollywood. He's old as fuck, but man, the guy still is acting. I believe he's almost 80. I don't know. I don't have any sources on me right now discussing his age, but I believe he's almost 80. If he's not already 80, then I already know that for a fact that he's almost 80. But no, I love Morgan Freeman a lot. He's done a lot of great stuff. He's done some mediocre stuff. But every actor has done a fair share of mediocre stuff. But I am excited to honor Morgan Freeman because he really does have a lot of strong films.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to talk about him. I'm looking up his IMDb page. Next year, he will be 80. He was born in 37. So,
Daniel.
He's basically like almost the guy version of Betty White, where I realize that she's older, but you get what I'm saying. She's in her 90s and she's still kicking it. And Morgan Freeman does not care. He's just, sprouting off that gray dew and, gaining more freckles as he gets older. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, then you've seen South Park. So Morgan Freeman, he's a classic. I always like seeing him. Like I said, even though when he's mailing it in, let's face facts. That voice of his could put anyone to sleep. If you're having trouble sleeping at night, he needs to have a call service where you call him and there's a passage just being read over the phone, and then you'll be put to sleep automatically. There's no contest. He's just got one of those iconic voices. That's why he does a lot of narration and voiceovers, because they're just sometimes really funny to hear. And speaking of Ben-Hur, before we get into the list, if you went to Jamaica for a vacation and you got lost on a trail or something, and there was a bunch of caves, and you're like, honey, do you want to go into the caves? And she's just I really don't want to. And then you come across the last cave on the trail, and Morgan Freeman pops out, and he looks like this burnt out drug dealer that just was in his prime in Jamaica and stuff, and and then he just lost his way and then went out into the caves and just settled in there and stuff. And it's just, those fucking dreadlocks look awful. It just, I don't understand what the wardrobe and the wigs and stuff, but and I realize that Morgan Freeman could probably sport out a gray thin beard or whatever, but when you mix it with a weird gray wig, it just fuck off. I'm not looking forward to that movie whatsoever, and he definitely takes me out of the trailer when I watch that rant. So with that being said, guys, let's fucking do it. Let's jump on that Morgan Freeman train. So jumping on to number 5, Brian, I ask you every single week, and I'll ask you in this week, what is your number 5 favorite Morgan Freeman film of all time? Now, really think about this before you spout out answers. Go.
All right, my number 5 is Gone Baby Gone.
Okay.
He plays the police captain in this movie, and fantastic film. He's not the lead. This film was led by Casey Affleck. It was Ben Affleck's directorial debut, and this changed everyone's perspective on the guy. People are like, oh my God, this guy is really talented. Fuck Jiggly, fuck Daredevil. He did this movie, and it's yay, hooray. It's a fantastic film. First of all, I'm a huge supporter of Boston. I'm a Red Sox fan. I've been to the city numerous times. I love that place to death. Every time I go there, I'm I want to go up to at least one motherfucker and just say, how you like them apples? But I just can't do that, because if I do, I'll probably get kicked by a cat, and then they'll take me to a bar. But no, Gone Baby Gone, obviously, if you guys do not know what this movie's about, it's about the disappearance of a little girl. Casey Affleck and Michelle Monaghan are PIs trying to find this girl, and then they team up with Ed Harris to find this girl. It's really engaging. It's really thrilling. And what happens with Morgan Freeman's character, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's a big twist involving his character, and it made me go, what the fuck? I was just oh my God, this is insane. And while he did a very good job, he wasn't really, his role wasn't huge in the movie, but it was crucial to the story. And I have to say that he did a stellar job in this movie, particularly with the character. I thought he portrayed this character perfectly well. And like I said, I don't want to spoil it, but if you guys have seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When Casey Affleck walks up to that house and just sees what Morgan Freeman is doing, you're just like, oh my God, this is insane. You understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, you're like, this is not really a good thing. But once the movie ends, you're like, I think what Morgan Freeman did was kind of the right thing. And what happened to him at the end shouldn't have really happened, so I'm not going to say it. But my number 5 is Gone Baby Gone. Fantastic film. If you guys have not seen it, please check it out. It's Ben Affleck's directorial debut, and it is a fantastic effort from the man himself, from Batfleck himself. Go ahead.
That was really awkward because like you started lagging out and then like it paused and then it came back and you started staring at me. All right, so yeah, no, that's I think my computer is just crapping itself. All right, so anyways, yeah, that's a great pick. Gone Baby Gone, a great directorial debut and basically coming out of hiding. Movie with Ben Affleck directing and Casey Affleck starring. It's a great film. My number 5, I'm going to go with something very unconventional, but when I see movies like this, it gives me a sense that Morgan Freeman is actually a pretty funny dude. Now, he's done comedies in the past and stuff, but there was something about his line delivery and the way he delivered the dry humor and really just kind of spiced up the dialogue that was coming out of his mouth with the Lego movie. Now, I know what you're saying. You're like, why that one? It's like, listen, I like when Morgan does something different than what he's used to. Yeah, he's done dramas. Like a lot of dramas. So it's nice to see him do something kind of different. And the Lego movie is something different. Everyone in that movie fits their character pretty damn well. And so does Morgan Freeman because, I mean, he's basically playing a little miniature version of God. But, like, everything that comes out of his mouth is pretty damn funny. And, like, if you rewatch that movie and you just realize how dry like, all the humor is from his character, it's like, dude, Morgan's got some good comedic chops. So, and not only that, Lego Movie is a great movie. I've talked about this movie to no end for the past like 2 years now. It's a great family film. It's a great film that everyone can enjoy. It's got a lot of great humor in it. It's just a really fun, entertaining story. The animation's really good, and who doesn't like Morgan Freeman's voice coming through a little Lego God character? So, yeah, that was the movie that showed me that he's got really good comedic chops. And like I said, he's been in comedies, but he hasn't really like kind of done anything that I would like kind of grasp onto. Like he's done like really low bit comedies. Like I'm looking through his list right now. There's some interesting ones, but yeah, I really liked his voiceover work in that movie, and I kind of wish he would do more voiceover work in the future. Hopefully, he will be in the sequel or just hell, even in another anime movie in general. So that's my number 5 pick. Brian, what do you have to say about that pick?
I love it. I wanted to put it on my list, but to be quite honest, I just really, it was battling with Gone Baby Gone, and I really loved the crap out of that film. But like, I had to put on Gone Baby Gone simply because of what I said. What happens with his character is just so like thrilling and frolling and stuff. But the Lego movie is fantastic. I mean, I remember hearing that he was announced in the Lego movie, and I'm just like, well, first of all, I was like, this idea is terrible. And second of all, I'm like, obviously, this is just a cash grab for him. And then when I saw the trailer and I saw who he was voicing, I'm like, okay, I like this. Then I saw the movie, and it was just perfect. I mean, just his opening sequence is him getting flipped. Like, when he gets flicked by Will Ferrell's character and then he just falls, it's like the funniest fucking thing ever. And then he becomes blind. It's the silliest thing ever. It's perfect. He's playing God. That's why. That's probably why Phil Lord and Chris Miller cast. They were probably writing the script. They're like, okay, we need Morgan Freeman to play this character because if he doesn't want to play, then we have to scrap this character for good. But the Lego movie, fantastic choice, man. Just love it so much.
Yeah, it's oh man, that fucking movie. Like listen, even if he wasn't trying, like. Then he delivered like the not trying, like the best he's ever done. So even if he didn't give 2 shits going to that recording studio, he delivered that dry humor in spades. So that is my number 5 pick. All right, my Brian, number 4.
My number 4 is The Dark Knight.
Okay.
Fantastic superhero film. Obviously, Morgan Freeman is great as Lucius Fox in these Dark Knight films. He actually does try in these films, probably because he's under the direction of Christopher Nolan. So, I mean, whenever you're under the direction of Nolan, you gotta try. And if you don't, then obviously you don't give a damn. But no, he's great as Lucius Fox. The only reason why I'm putting the Dark Knight is because that's obviously the best one to me in the series. And I mean, I haven't seen the full thing in forever, and I love the movie to death, but I don't really remember much with Lucius Fox. But I do remember him standing out in these films, like in Batman Begins when we first meet him, then in Dark Knight Rises when he gives him the tumbler and stuff. So I mean, like, Morgan Freeman's really great in this trilogy, but the only reason why I put the Dark Knight is because his character is is such a great mentor to Bruce Wayne that, like, I think Morgan Freeman was meant to play this role, and I think he brought Lucius Fox very well to the screen. And yeah, I love The Dark Knight. I would talk about it more, but the thing is, I haven't gotten a chance to rewatch the full thing recently. Like, yes, there are times when it's on TV, but I want to watch the full thing again. And like I said, Freeman's great in the film, but it's obviously Heath Ledger's film. So yeah, The Dark Knight is my number 4.
I couldn't put The Dark Knight on my list, and there's nothing wrong with that pick whatsoever. I just feel that, like, he's fine in the role. Like, it's not like a performance where I go, hot damn, I want to, like, that's like the top, Morgan Freeman performance.
No, I get you, but since it's like one of my favorite films, that's kind of why I put it on my list.
True. Yeah, I mean, superhero movies are terrible. Like, I don't know. I'm just kidding. If you're watching on YouTube, obviously I have a knack for them. Because I worship them. And I love The Dark Knight quite a bit. I can't see. This is where our show kind of blurs the line as to, do you choose your list based on films or do you choose it based on performances? And, like, it's just, you have to the film and not the performance. So, but then again, you say you liked him in the movie. I think he's just fine in the trilogy. Yeah, that's why I didn't put it on there. It was actually between The Dark Knight and the Lego movie, and I was like, it was different in the Lego movie. That's why I put it on there. So
yeah, that's understandable.
My number 4. See, Brian might have a counter argument because I went with an ensemble piece once again, where he's not even the main character, not even the side character. He's kind of like in the background. But I thought his overall involvement in the film was great, and I love his vulnerability in this movie. That's the other thing I like about Morgan Freeman. Not only his comedic chops, I like his vulnerability. Like I said, I like when he does different shit. And like I said, he's not the main character, not the side character, but he's very important to the plot. And I remember taking this movie into lighting class and displaying a bunch of scenes and explaining what they meant and stuff. And that would be $1 Million Baby. And now I really like this movie quite a bit. I think it's a really great boxing movie and stuff. Hilary Swank was very enjoyable. Clint Eastwood was great and stuff. And it's a very, very sad movie if you made it to the end. But like I said, I found a vulnerability to his character, and I found that his involvement in the movie and in the story in general, I felt like he actually cared. He really gave just 110%. It was directed by Clint Eastwood, so, like, if you're being directed by a guy that's fucking older than you, when you're Morgan Freeman, it's like you gotta fucking respect the guy. So I like the movie quite a bit. It's a very dark, dreary type of boxing movie, but it's really well done. And I think as a supporting cast member, he does a very good job. And out of my list, I guess besides the Lego movie, I chose that one because I thought he was a great supporting character, and we need a little diversity on these lists and stuff. And it's a really great movie and stuff, and it does still stick with me to this day. So I'm gonna go with $1 Million Baby. So Brian, what do you think about that pick, or would you like to move on?
I'm gonna pass on this one.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, that's on his list somewhere. I don't know where, but it's definitely in the top 3. Hey, there you go. All right, so speaking of that, let's move to number 3.
My number 3 is $1 Million Baby.
Oh, look at you.
There's one point you forgot to bring up. This is the film he won the Oscar for.
Yeah, that's right.
You forgot to bring that up. I love $1 Million Baby a lot. It's
before you burn me again. I remember, like, Hilary Swank and Clint Eastwood in Best Picture, and those are like the grand awards and stuff, and you forget that Morgan Freeman was just like the added bonus that won an award, but you remember like the bigger ones that won stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I'll give you that. I really love Million Dollar Baby. It's one of the best boxing movies we've ever had. I think I would go on a limb by saying I think it's Clint Eastwood's best directed film. It's probably my favorite film he's directed.
Ooh.
Out of the films that he's in where he directs himself, this might be my favorite one. But my favorite one that he's actually directed without him is Mystic River. You saw that one, right?
Oh, I love Mystic River. Yeah, I didn't even think about that one. Yeah, that's a good pick.
Okay, cool. Yo.
I was gonna say before you continue, I was gonna say Gran Torino. I really like that.
That's a great film too. That's a great film too. But I think I have more respect for Million Dollar Baby because I really love boxing films, so that's kind of why. But yeah, like you said, his character is he's like Clint Eastwood's partner in crime in this movie. I mean, they co-run the gym together and stuff, and you know, he's one of the reasons why he tells Clint Eastwood's character to train Hilary Swank. Like,
so, I mean, he's basically the he's the catalyst in the movie. Like, he propels the movie forward.
Absolutely, totally. He has many great scenes in this movie. I think towards the end, his scene really stands out. There's also a scene where he fights one of the members at the gym for picking on who's Jay Baruchel, who was actually surprisingly very good in this film. And yeah, Morgan Freeman really did a great job in this film. It's just, I mean, would I have given him his first Oscar for this? Not necessarily, but I mean, it was a great supporting performance to propel the movie, like you said. All three of those performances were amazing, and Morgan Freeman really did stand out, but obviously it was Hilary Swank's film. She carried the entire film. I don't think anyone else could have played the role as well as Hilary Swank. Hilary Swank, I miss you. Please come back. Like, come on. You won 2 Oscars. Come back. But yeah, Million Dollar Baby, check it out. Fantastic film. Heartbreaking half an hour at the end. Great film. Love it.
Yeah, it's one of those movies to where, like, if I met a boxing fan such as yourself and they were just like, make a top 5 list of boxing movies, I might consider that, putting that in there. You know, put like Raging Bull and like Rocky and like hell, even I like Southpaw a lot, and you know, and then throw Million Dollar Baby. Like, you know, that's a good group to like kind of get your feet wet with the jar. And Cinderella Man. There you go. There's your top 5. Yeah. So yeah, my number 3. I'm gonna go the opposite coin. I'm gonna go basically what I started out with this episode with, the movie that basically revitalized his career. That's Bruce Almighty. Listen, when I saw the movie in theaters, I'm a huge fan of Jim Carrey, so like I saw it because of him, but like I just didn't expect Morgan Freeman to be that like engaging into the movie. Like, as soon as he pops on screen, you're like, yeah, if I fucking die, that's what God's gonna be like. That he embodied like what God might be like if you believe in that stuff, or like if you feel like if you do die, you're gonna go up to the pearly gates or whatever. I feel like I would be welcomed by a Morgan Freeman type of character. He was just a great yin to Jim Carrey's yang, and he's even got some funny one-liners. And once again, it's not like Jim Carrey style comedy, but it's more laid back and it's more dry and stuff, kind of like in the Lego Movie and whatnot. And like I said, it was just a really great kind of back and forth with him and Jim Carrey and stuff. And he's just the embodiment of God in that movie. Like, he feels powerful. He feels like he's everywhere. He's listening to over there. He's listening to over there. You got a problem? I'll fucking fix it and stuff. So I really like it. It's definitely one of Jim Carrey's underrated movies. Like, I know a lot of people like Bruce Almighty, but no one really ever talks about it. And I think it still holds up to this day. It's definitely one of Jim Carrey's funnier movies. I would say it's consistently funny. And Brian, who's the love interest? Is it Jennifer Aniston?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't really care about that. But, you know, besides that, the movie's very entertaining, and it's got some really great gags between God and Jim Carrey and stuff. So, yeah, I would highly recommend it if that is if you like comedies, or if you haven't seen that Jim Carrey one, or even a Morgan Freeman movie. Check that one out. It's definitely a great one, and it's the introduction, if you will, to Steve Carell, because that was a movie that came out in 2003. Like I said, in 2004 was Anchorman, and then of course The Office was 2005. So Bruce Almighty was the very first like Steve Carell bit that we've gotten in the movie, and it's one of the funniest bits in the movie. Like, You might just like pee yourself laughing. When I first saw it in theaters, I was like, "What the hell am I watching?" It's so random and so funny. And Steve Carell delivered it in such a great passion. But this is a Morgan Freeman, so what the hell are we doing? But yeah, it's a really entertaining movie. And like I said, I like when he does different things. This is definitely out of his wheelhouse, and that's why I put it on there. And it's, like I said, it's a very enjoyable comedy. So, Brian, would you like to comment? If you pass on this, it is in your top 2.
I really enjoy Bruce Almighty a lot. Okay. He's excellent in this film. Like you said, the Steve Carell stuff definitely the standout of the film. Yeah, Bruce Almighty, very good film. Really enjoy it. In my honorable mentions for sure. Let's move on to the top 2.
Okay, so I am no idiot. Brian and I are film aficionados. We've seen a lot of movies. I can bet you money on this right now that Brian and I's top 2, they may not be in the same order, but they're the same 2 movies. So I'm really tempted to see which one he put ahead of the other. So yeah, am I going to reveal the 2? No, I'm gonna let this play out. But we're gonna move on to number 2 right now. All right, now I'm gonna take a wild guess. I'm gonna take a shot in the dark, a stab in the dick. I'm gonna do this proper. Brian, is your number 2 Shawshank Redemption?
My number 2 is 7.
Okay, so okay. Brian, explain yourself.
No way.
As you can see, I'm a little shocked.
Whoa.
I'm a little shocked.
Okay.
Okay, Brian. Brian,
all right, I don't know how this is gonna go.
You know exactly how this episode's gonna end.
Here's the deal. I could not begin to tell you how many times, as I was making my list, I kept going back and forth with my top 2. I had no idea which one to put. Like, this was really tough. You know that I love 7 with a hardcore passion.
I know.
I wanted to put that as my number 1 so badly, but I couldn't. I just couldn't because my number 1 is the best film he's ever done. Like, if people say it's not, that I don't know. 7, I mean, we talked about this film not too long ago on the Psychological Thrillers episode. It was my number 1 psychological thriller. I adore the crap out of 7. It's one of my favorite David Fincher films. Him and Brad Pitt go back and forth amazingly. They're going to hunt down this guy who's committed the 7 deadly sins. I like I said before, Morgan Freeman is great in the film. He's excellent. I mean, he's this cop who's soon to be retired, but he wants to do this one last case before he calls it quits. He's with this rookie cop, Brad Pitt. They hunt down this guy. The creepy guy's Kevin Spacey. The iconic "What's in the Box." I'm not going to imitate because I'm going to hurt my voice if I do it. 7, from beginning to end, is psychologically messed up. You have no idea what's going to happen. It feels like you're watching an actual crime scene being investigated. Like, it feels like a real-life crime investigation, and it's so realistic to the point where I'm like, I feel like this happened in real life. I don't think it did. If it did, I don't know, but it feels so realistic. That's the beautiness with Fincher. You know, every film he's done just feels real, even the ones that are fictional, like Fight Club, Benjamin Button, Dragon Tattoo. Like, they all feel real. Even Gone Girl, like, they all feel like these things have happened in real life, but yet they didn't, and it's insane. And then the iconic "What's in the Box," and Kevin Spacey turning his head going, oh. When Morgan Freeman hits him, it's just like, oh, God. Like, 7. One of my favorite films of the 90s, for sure. I really love 7. I just couldn't put it as my number 1 because my number 1 simply is not only the greatest Morgan Freeman film, it's one of the greatest films of all time, and it's a film that every film lover should appreciate, because if they do not appreciate what I'm going to put as my number 1, then you are like a horrible, heartless, disgraceful human being thing. 7 is my number 2.
Yeah, this was that episode where I knew what our top 2 were going to be. I was just really curious to see which one was going to come out on top and which one was going to take second bottom bitch. However, both films are great. It's just a matter of like what you are interested in the most. I'm going to go the opposite. My number 2 is Shawshank Redemption. Now, I saw this movie way later in my life, and I really loved it quite a bit. And I loved it so much that I purchased a Stephen King trilogy DVD box set of The Shining, Shawshank, and Dreamcatcher. And Morgan Freeman's in 2 of them, and one of them, whatever. But Shawshank Redemption goes, it's just it's a good film. It's a great film about redemption of this guy that is being put in prison, and Morgan Freeman being like this guy that's been there for fucking ages, and he's teaching him the ways. Andy Dufresne, played by Tim Robbins, and he's just kind of teaching him about life and whatnot, and telling him that like, there's more out there. Like put in your time and go out there and live the rest of it and stuff. And it's just a really good, a feel good movie and stuff, especially when Morgan Freeman, not only is it a feel good, but there's a lot of themes going on with like Morgan Freeman. Brian knows what scene I'm talking about when he's in front of the parole officers and he's trying to get off, and he's been on his good behavior, and they're not buying it, and it's like, oh god, it's disgusting that racism and shit still happens today. But as far as the movie goes, it's really well acted, it's well directed. Frank Darabont, man, like that guy, he, like Shawshank Redemption, to most people got screwed over hard that year at the Oscars, and it didn't do well at the box office. It flopped very, very badly and stuff. And Frank Darabont, believe it or not, he's actually made 2 of my favorite Stephen King movies. Yeah, did you guys know that? Shawshank Redemption, based on a short story by Stephen King III. That's not his real name. But Frank Darabont also did The Mist, and I love The Mist. The Mist is fucking cool.
And he did The Green Mile.
And he did The Green Mile, and that's Stephen King as well. But yeah, as far as the Shawshank Redemption goes, like I said, it's just a really great story of this guy trying to redeem his life in prison. And, I'm not going to say how it ends and if he gets out or not, but it's just a very inspiring movie. It's a great film to watch if you are getting into film, and it's just a really great watch all around, and it'll definitely make you feel very inspired and very uplifted towards the end. And of course, this is the first film well, actually I saw it later, but as I was watching it, it's got the Morgan Freeman touches of the voiceovers with his great sultry voice. Andy Dufresne never picked up another mop that day. Like, it's just great shit, especially at the very end when he gives his monologue. It's beautiful. Yeah, Shawshank Redemption, a great film. But once again, these top 2 movies, it depends on which way you swing. And that was meant to be sexual. I'm kidding. But yeah, number 2, Shawshank Redemption. So moving on to number 1, we kind of already gave it away. It's basically the exact opposite. And I'll go first since I'm continuing this conversation. I chose 7 as my number 1 because I'm a huge fan of like thrillers and like psychological movies that will fuck you up big time and really just kind of leave like an impending scar inside your brain. I love that shit, and it's a great cinematic experience. 7 was the first David Fincher movie that I saw, and after I got done watching it, I was like, man, I really hope this guy makes more movies. I think I saw this movie. Let me look up the exact year real fast while we're doing this. 1995. I was 5 years old. I probably saw it maybe a few years later on TV. Fight Club came out in 99. I was 9 years old at the time, so I saw that one probably when I was a teenager. So I think, 7 was definitely my first one. I think I saw it on TV first because it was like heavily edited, I remember. Because I remember when Brad Pitt was in the field like yelling what was in the box, and I think he's like, what the fuck is in the box? I think the TV, you know how TV censorship goes, like, what the fudge is in the box? Like, it's like that random, like, out of place, like, words. Like, what? You could have chosen any word except for fudge. Like, anyways, yeah, I really love psychological thrillers. I love Morgan Freeman's character. This guy's about to fucking get out of the precinct. He's like, woo, hot dog, I'm about to retire. And then they're like, yeah, we have this case. Can you, like, do it? So, like, he's roped into, like, probably the most disturbing case he's ever done on his career and stuff. And, like, what a great way to end your career when you're trying to find the fucking guy that's killing based on the 7 deadly sins. Awesome. Like you might as well just go retire after that, go to a beach on Florida and just drink your life away because you just saw, like, the worst shit of humanity. But like what Brian said, it's a great thriller. It's shot well. The cinematography is dark. It is luscious. It is inviting, and it just kind of it ropes you in. You're like, God, I don't want to leave this world, but I kind of do at the same time because it's creepy as dick. And of course, it's got the, you know, the surprise ending and stuff. It's Fincher at his best. It's one of Fincher's first, and it was his first, like, commercial one for sure. 7 was a huge hit. I believe so back in the day. I didn't really hear any reports on it, like, tanking or whatever. And if it did, it definitely found its way on home video. But it's just a really great psychological thriller. It's shot beautifully. It's dark. It's disturbing. And the one thing I like about, not only is this a great film, but the one thing I like about his performance is that I believe that he was this detective. I believe that he was a part of this, police department or whatever, this precinct, and really kind of got involved with cases and was really just involved in, like, you know, suspects and getting down to the mystery and solving and stuff. I felt like he tapped into that role, and he was his character, and he wanted to solve these mysteries in cases and whatnot. I felt like he was there for years, and he was about to retire. I believed everything that came out of his mouth, and believed every word. And him going off for Brad Pitt is genius in the movie, because Brad Pitt, he's very unhinged in some parts, and he's got a little bit more emotion in his character. Not to say Morgan Freeman doesn't, but he's got a little bit more emotional stakes in terms of as the movie progresses and stuff, and he gets a little bit more involved. As Morgan Freeman, he's more of the straight edge, person, because he's been doing this for a long time. But even this case, like, slowly starts to break him. That's how dark and disturbing it gets, is that even this guy that's been doing this for many, many decades is like, he's, like, slowly starting to lose it himself. So, like, that's what makes it really great, is that, like, even some cases can really kind of disturb and tap into those dark senses for cops and stuff and detectives. And it's just a great psychological thriller, and it will fuck you up big time. And that is my favorite Morgan Freeman film, favorite performance, favorite movie. It's all there. It's all good in the neighborhood. Go check it out. So, Brian, counteract with me. Why is The Shawshank Redemption your favorite Morgan Freeman film?
For me, the thing with this movie is that as a hardcore film fanatic, this really, well, first of all, I think I saw this before 7, so I think this is why it was more special. Like, I think I saw, the first time I saw 7 was last year in my film class where we were doing noir, and
the first time, like, as in, like, you've never seen it.
I haven't seen it fully.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, wow. I know. There, like you said, I don't always have time to watch everything. I mean, now I do, but, like, at that time, I didn't really have a lot of time to watch everything. And also, I couldn't find it anywhere. I couldn't find it, like, on the premium channels. I couldn't find it on Netflix. I couldn't find it anywhere. So I wanted to wait until I was able to watch it for free. And I watched it in my class, uncensored. So, like, yeah. But Shawshank Redemption, to me, the reason why it's the best Morgan Freeman film to me is because it's just, I mean, like you said, Frank Darabont direction is flawless. I mean, the back and forth between him and Tim Robbins, Morgan Freeman has read the motivational monologues and stuff that he makes about my friend ain't the friend. Like, it's a great story too. It's just about these two guys in prison, and they befriend each other, and they really help each other out. Like, not only does Red help out Andy does help out Red a few times too. Like, it's really compelling stuff, and to me, it's one of the greatest films ever made. I have a poster right in front of me. It's the iconic Andy Dufresne his hands in the air as the rain's falling. Just iconic shot, easily the one of the most iconic shots in film history. And I mean, it is also shot by the greatest DP working today, Roger Deakins. I mean, this is, in my opinion, possibly the best film that Deakins has ever shot. I could be wrong. I would need time to think about that, but it is one of the best looking films that he's ever shot. And it just has a great story, so many great themes to it. It's probably competing with The Shining and Stand By Me is my favorite Stephen King adaptation. Like, those three films each go back and forth. Like, I don't know which one. I love all three of those films equally. But to me, The Shawshank Redemption is one of the greatest films of all time. And yes, it did get robbed at the Oscars, although I have a strong love for Forrest Gump. I'm not mad that Forrest Gump won, but if I would have probably given it to Shawshank as well, although Forrest Gump, to me, is a great film.
That's the thing is, like, I'm not dogging on Forrest Gump. I like Forrest Gump quite a bit, but if I was on the voting committee, I would put Shawshank over.
No, I would too, believe me. But I don't know. Like, and a lot of the other characters are great too. I mean, the warden is fucking brutal. Brooks. The stuff that happens with Brooks in this movie, man. That whole storyline with him when he leaves prison. And then he writes Brooks was here on the wall. Oh, compelling stuff. And the last scene with Morgan Freeman's character, a.k.a. Red, it's really just heartwarming stuff. I'm not going to spoil anything. But, I mean, the movie's been out for 22 years. And if you guys have not seen it, really, you're doing yourself such a stupid mistake by not checking out The Shawshank Redemption. While I think Seven and Shawshank are the two best films that he's ever done, Shawshank, I think, might be more important if you're a film enthusiast, while Seven is an amazing film. Like, I praised it enough. You praised it a lot. I just think Shawshank is the more important film in Morgan Freeman's filmography. But that being said, guys, it's my number one. It is competing with Seven as my favorite film. But the thing is, I've seen this film more than Seven. So, and I saw this before Seven, too. So, I mean, like, yeah, that's why it's really special to me. Shawshank Redemption, in my opinion, is the best Morgan Freeman film. And if you guys have not seen it, please check it out.
I think we can both agree on this, is that Shawshank is one of the best dramas, and then, like, Seven is one of the best, like, psychological, even thrillers. So, like,
yes.
Morgan Freeman's been a part of both of those movies, and so he's nailed kind of those genres with both those movies. So that's the one thing we can admit is, like, if you're a fan of dramas, Shawshank best ones. If you're a fan of thrillers, Seven is one of the best ones. So, but that is not all, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get into honorable mentions, here's our list. Some good shit on there. Like, it's all good shit. I love it all. So before we get into honorable mentions, what is your favorite Morgan Freeman film? Comment, place, rub my face, and let me and Brian know. All right, so moving on to the movies that didn't make our list. Guys, there's a lot of them. He's been acting for many, many decades, and I'm going to go through all of them real fast. I got to be honest with you. I've never seen Amistad, never seen any of the Alex Cross movies that he was a part of. What else? I'm going really fast down his list. And that's like the major ones, I guess. Driving Miss Daisy, that's a classic to many people. I haven't seen that one.
Haven't seen it either.
Yeah, so I mean, guys, listen, I can't see everyone's movies, but I mean, I've seen it quite a bit. On a guilty pleasure level, I like Deep Impact a lot. That one was really great. Of course, the Batman movies, I'll give them that. Gone Baby Gone. Wanted. He was in Wanted. I really like Wanted quite a bit. You know what? I'll say it. I think the first Red movie is entertaining. But the second one, I don't really care for. Olympus Has Fallen, I actually have never seen. I saw London Has Fallen. I thought he played a pretty convincing president. Never saw Lucy. Never saw Transcendence. Never saw any of the Dolphin Tale movies. You see what I'm saying? I didn't see the first. Now you see me. So there's a lot of movies, even modern movies, that I have missed of Morgan Freeman, because he's like a hero. He just crawls his way into anything. So I guess those would be the ones I honorable mentions. So actually, you know what? I gave it like a really mixed review when I did it, when I saw it at a film festival. I kind of enjoyed Five Flights Up, and if you don't know what that is, it's kind of like a smaller movie and stuff. He's married to Diane Keaton in the movie and stuff. I really liked it. Like, it was very sweet and heartwarming, I guess. And if you're an older person, you probably enjoy it way more than me. But I thought it was nice. It was cute. So, Brian, take it away. What are some of the ones that just didn't make your list?
The Lego Movie, Glory, Unforgiven, Wanted. I liked the first Red. I enjoyed. I didn't like the second one at all. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves is really entertaining. I enjoy him in that one. I liked him as Nelson Mandela in Invictus. And I'll say Amistad. There's definitely other ones too that I could think of. Although this is a small role, but I will say that I didn't hate Ted 2. Like I enjoyed Ted 2 for what it was. It wasn't great by any means, but it was fine. Like, it was whatever.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not even like a huge role. It's a cameo. So
yeah, but
it's a glorified cameo, and yeah, Ted 2's fine. I don't. Is it as gut-bustingly funny as the first one? No, but like I still think it's a very entertaining movie, and I gave it a pretty high grade because I did enjoy myself. So moving on to the movies that just kind of suck a big pile of moose dicks. I gotta be honest with you. Out of all the movies I've seen from him, with him in it, I don't have any. Like I guess I've skipped the bad ones. I guess Red 2, if you want to throw it on there.
He wasn't in Red 2.
Oh, he wasn't?
Nope.
Shows you how much I remember the movie. Listen, it is very forgettable. Yeah. I don't know. I'm looking at his list, and I'm just like, I've seen most of these, or the ones I've have seen. They're fine. I haven't seen a really bad one from him. I guess Ben-Hur, because the fucking wig looks awful. There's my worst. So until I see that one, the wig is the worst thing he's done so far. So, Brian, what about you?
I've only seen one atrocious movie that he's done. Like, everything else I've seen that I didn't mention in the honorable mentions is just okay. My worst, easily, as of right now, the only, like, god-awful movie I saw him in was Transcendence. This movie made me sleep. I was so disappointed with this film. I was so excited for it because it looked like it had a lot of potential. I loved the cast. I thought Johnny Depp was going to be awesome in it, but instead he was just there, and his brain gets transferred into like a fucking program and stuff, and then he steals bank accounts and stuff. Yeah, fucking great stuff. Morgan Freeman was just there for the hell of it. Rebecca Hall is beautiful, but she was the only actor that really looked committed in the movie, and she tried her best. I mean, I think everyone did, but like, no, Rebecca Hall and Paul Bettany were great in the film. Everyone else was just there, and they were flat. Even Johnny Depp was flat, even though technically he wasn't there. His physical body was only there for like 10 minutes, and then he gets killed, and it was so stupid. It was so boring. It was directed by Wally Feister, Christopher Nolan's DP. The guy cannot direct. The guy could shoot a film, but the guy cannot direct actors. So, I mean, I felt like he was trying to rip off a Christopher Nolan style film, and it just did not work out very well. I really hated Transcendence. And for those of you who had to go see it like myself, I feel sorry for you. And if you like it, I want to know why. I want to know how. And I want to know what's wrong with you.
I skipped that one because I didn't find it intriguing at all. And despite most people, I still think Johnny Depp has greatness in him. He just, as of late, Black Mass, and then maybe before that, Blow. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's very like far and few between of like what he's done that's actually great. So, yeah, I skipped Transcendence. I'm so fucking glad. So, yeah, that's it for Morgan Freeman, guys. But what are some of your least favorite Morgan Freeman films? And I'll ask the question again. What are some of your favorite ones? Comment in the place with my face and let me know. And let me know, and Brian and I both, like some movies that, that he's done that we didn't mention that I said I didn't see or whatever. Tell me if it's good or not. So, but, we got to move on. We got to continue the show. And speaking of that, Brian, what are we doing next week?
Next week, Finding Dory is coming out. Next week's also our 1-year anniversary. So we are going to be redoing a list of our top 5 Pixar films. Now, actually, the thing is, when this show first aired, I was not on this episode. I came on the week afterwards. So I can't wait to give my top 5 Pixar films. This is going to be a dope episode. I cannot wait to do this.
Yeah, this is gonna be great because I might have the same list. I will try my best. I don't know which day that Brian and I are recording it, but I will try my best to see Finding Dory so I can have it maybe on the list. Now, the only ones I haven't seen from Pixar, believe it or not, I haven't seen. No, one of them. I haven't seen one of them. You know what that one is? It's fucking Brave, and I can't find myself to actually want to watch it. And I believe that's the only one I haven't seen, and it'll be really interesting to see how I feel about my list a year later. And it's fucking crazy, man. I cannot believe this started a year ago. And the thing is, like, I started when Inside Out came out, and I was like, oh shit, let me do like a Saturday show where like I do top 5 lists and stuff. And I was trying to keep myself busy because I went through a breakup and whatnot a couple months prior, and like I did the first episode and it was very shitty. But Brian actually messaged me like that night, and he was like, I want to be a part of it. So I was like, okay. And here we are a year later. This motherfucker's still with me. But no, Brian does a lot, and he comes up with the topics and stuff. We agree upon them, and he does all the thumbnails. So all those beautiful thumbnails you see on YouTube and Spreaker, that's him. But yeah, next week, Pixar. It's gonna be magical, and I might have the same list, but it'll be interesting for me because I want to know what his top 5 list is gonna be. So yeah, I'm really excited to do the 1-year anniversary of Top 5 Saturdays Live. I cannot believe that we've done almost 52 of these episodes. 52 of these episodes. That's fucking crazy. So, yeah, next week, Top 5 Pixar films revisited for myself, but new for Brian. So, we will see you guys next week for another crazy episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live. Brian, where can people find you online?
Twitter, Brian Stuff98, and on YouTube at Brian Suffield.
Awesome. If you want to follow me on Twitter, at Real Chase Lee. If you want to subscribe to the YouTube channel to get more top 5 shows, and I do a podcast. Brian does a podcast. Go subscribe to him and shit. All of his links will be in the description below, as well as mine. And if you're listening on Spreaker and you want a video version, link will be in the description below. And if you're watching on YouTube, you want an audio-only version, link in the description below. We will see you guys next week for another crazy-ass episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live. I'm Chase Lee.
I'm Brian Suffield.
That's fucking right. And the intro and outro music is from my friend's band, Fervent Roze. Check them out. They are blowing up in Dallas. Speaking of that, play that shit. Bye. Oh, Morgan Freeman, the voice of 1,000 unicorns, just putting you to sleep. All right, we'll see you guys later.